Okay.
Okay, so hi everyone, very good morning, happy Monday. So, how are you doing, guys?
Fine, sir.
Okay, so as I promised, last week we covered about the discovery theoretical things where we discussed about the basics of the discovery, what is discovery, how that will work, types of the discovery, how we can discover that there are two types of discovery, horizontal and top to down. Then we discussed about data centers, IP ranges, how many data centers or what type of data centers are available in the customer environment basically, and how we can ask the IP ranges from the customer. Then we also discussed about the pre-rec of the discovery, which is the most important things, right? So we discussed about each and everything related to that, about mid server, we discussed about mid server configurations, we discussed about credentials, ports, and all other things, right? So before proceeding today for the mid server demo or installation, anyone have any questions on it? Any questions? Because I also shared a couple of useful links related to pre-rec and all other informations. I hope that will helpful for you. But if have anyone any questions, you can ask to me.
So, Ajay, like, what is Hampro and Sampro?
What is
Hampro and Sampro. Like,
what is
I
ham
know that
pro?
hardware.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, please go.
Ham Pro and Sampro is basically, as you know, that a definition or that the name of this one plugins Hampro and Sampro, it's something giving you more capability to manage your assets for hardware and softwares and managing the complete life cycle of it. The out of the box asset management with which comes with ITSM, that is not that much capable. So you can store only the asset informations, but you cannot run the life cycle on it, right? So Hampro gives the capability to run that particular, or the Sampro is also gives the capability to run the complete life cycle. Example, if I give an example, uh, when you basically, there are a couple of out of the box catalogs available. So when any user is requesting any laptop or any team is requesting for any laptop, they can go to that catalog, they can raise their request. Now that request go to the store team manager team or the IT manager team who are managing the assets, and they are verifying if we have any laptop or desktop or any peripherals available in stock. If yes, then he will be aligning you one laptop. Otherwise, then next thing will be started that we called procurement, right? They are going to raise a request with that vendors to procure some laptops. Then once the laptop is delivering, then you are receiving that laptop, you are putting that particular laptop in specific stock room, or in stock status, right? And after that, you are assigning that laptop to some other users or who are requested for that laptop and all, right? And based on that, the life cycle start, right? So life cycle start from the procurement, the receiving, assignment to some specific users. The same way, you have that laptop warranty or warranty time, and you are allocating that particular laptop for that particular warranty time, and after that you are going to be depreciate, right? So depreciations comes in the picture. Each and everything related to that life cycle, that is covered in the ham pro, which we are, customer is mostly using that particular time based on the capabilities of discovery, we can say. Because now they are realized discovery can do that much things. The same way, hardware and software can also do the same things. In the software, as I mentioned, I talked about hardware, but the software side as well. How many softwares, license softwares we are using, what is the license cost of it, when they are purchased, if we are need to be renew that particular software, so do we require any contract with that particular vendor and all. So all life cycle of the softwares will be going to be use it. Because when we are talking about money and the licenses cost, you know somehow we have to be manage that complete information on it, right? Otherwise we cannot track fully, and we are going to be overpaid, or we are going to be paid a couple of times to the particular vendor. So this is the basics basically. I hope that is clear to you now, Gayatri.
Yes, yes. So basically, that life cycle of software is called SAMPRO, and for
Right,
hardware, it's called.
exactly. Now they also introduce one more called enterprise asset management, EAM. This is something, just is small difference here. In Hampro and Sampro, you are going to be manage the life cycle of IT assets basically, right? But enterprise asset management can you help to manage the life cycle of all other component as well of your organization. You can say life cycle, or you can say management of those particular assets of your organizations. Example, in your office you have chairs, you have a desk, right? If you want to track those particular desks, how many desks we have, how many chairs we have, how many tables we have, everything can be tracked in enterprise asset management plugin. This is the basic difference only. Okay, so
it is otherwise managing your facilities. You're managing, it's a
exactly,
facility management. Yeah.
you
And
can say.
yeah, and also not every organization is an IT organization.
Okay.
So
Right.
you have, yeah, you have government organizations, like in Indian language, if you call these are, these is, your municipality sectors, your any other government regulated sectors. Yeah, in countries like Australia and USA, they call it as councils. So how do you manage the council assets? It is
Yes.
through enterprise asset management. Yeah. So yeah.
Right. Thank you, Rakesh.
And
Thanks for adding.
yeah, no problem. And just one clarification here, Jay. See,
Hmm.
did they define the life cycle for these enterprise assets? Like how we have this life cycle
Aha.
from, yeah,
Right.
sorry.
So I have not looked into that much that
Yeah, you have
side,
not
but
looked. Yeah,
right.
okay.
But that is recently, introduced, because till the
Mm.
time that what I feel, till the time you are not using that particular product, you will not get more insights of it, right? You know the
Yeah, yeah.
basic. So
See,
ha-
it is, the thing is, I worked on an RFP last year on this.
Mhm.
It is conflicting with field service management little bit.
Right.
So yeah, it is conflicting with field service management. But yeah, I think this is outside of the topic. Yeah,
Right.
I'll come back.
So
Yeah,
definitely. So, as I mentioned, till the time you are not doing practical and you are not leveraging that particular module or the tool, you will not get the more insight, right? So, I have not
yeah,
started anything on the EAM, but Ham and Sam, I've already worked on it, so that's why I know. So,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, let's get started today for mid-server installation first, right? So, as I mentioned, we will go one by one for each and everything related to practical things, and then we'll start discovery, right? So, let's
And
start.
Ajay,
So,
you said you have shared few links. Where did you share them?
on the Skype group only, in this particular training group.
In this particular training group through messages, is it? Or
Yeah,
oh,
through
uh,
messages only.
okay. Yeah. Sorry, 1:15 p.m. on Saturday. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So let me share my screen now. Let me know, guys, once you are able to see my screen. Okay. So before starting, can anyone
Looks like it
confirm?
is still popping up for me. Still, I'm not able to see your screen for
Okay.
some reason. Maybe a little bit slower from my end, but I
Okay.
request you to wait a minute. Maybe you
Sure.
can
Sure. Sure.
share now.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm waiting till the time. So I'm asking a question. How many do you know to install a mid server? What is the prereq?
I think it's 8 GB on your machine.
Yes.
Uh,
Role.
Okay, role.
So,
Okay, so let me rephrase that one. So we required first of all a virtual machine with Windows and Linux OS. Windows OS more than Windows Data Center 2016, and Linux should be more than 6.7 RHEL, right? So these are the basics OS we required first of all. And if I talked about the hardware configurations, we required at least 8 GB RAM, 4 core CPU, or 200 or 150 GB hard disk, or space, basically storage. That is the basic things required, right, to run or to install a mid application on any type of Windows or the Linux server, right. Second things comes in the picture when we are going to be install a mid server or mid application on a Windows server, how it's going to be connect with the ServiceNow instance, right? So we are going to be use the first of all uh, we are going to be use the a role mid underscores server role. Okay, and second thing, we are going to be use that particular mid server instance URL to connect the service now instance URL to connect with the mid server, right? That basically required. So Rakesh, are you able to see my screen now?
I'm still able to see only our the
All right,
profiles, our
I've not
profiles
shared.
only.
Right, I have not shared anything as of now, so that's why.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so let me quickly start with that particular PPT, just to showcase you. I will take 2 minutes only to be complete that one. So what will be the mid server installation process, right? So first of all, you have to be download the mid server package, or you can say mid server setup or installation from ServiceNow instance on that particular Windows server. Then you have to be extract that one. Then you have to be run in installation file on that particular Windows server. Then you have to be validate your mid server, and you have to be update the service credentials to running that particular service, right? If I go to the next slide, what this will be the looks like for the mid server installation. So you have to be provide your mid server ServiceNow instance URL and the user which you created in ServiceNow instance with mid underscore server role. So minimum role required to that particular user is mid underscore server role, and when we are providing mid underscore server role to that user, that will inherit couple of REST and SOAP roles basically. The next is there is proxy you can populate if customer is using proxy to connect over the internet. You can use the proxies, otherwise you can test directly credentials. Once you are testing credentials, that will work. And you have to be put that mid server name and the service account as well. This is not the updated picture as of now. ServiceNow is asking for one service account with log on as a service, right? So I will showcase you how we will create that one, right? And after that, once the installation done, we have to validate the mid server from ServiceNow instance, because once it's successful done in service running, it will showcase you on your ServiceNow instance immediately or within couple of minutes basically. So that is the process of the mid server installation which I'm talking about. Let's start the installation of it, right? So as I mentioned, okay, this is my personal instance PDI. First of all, as I mentioned, I have created a user mid underscore server. So let me open this one. Okay, already opened it, right? I've just created one user mid underscore server role, and I have set up the specific password for that, right? As you know, when you are creating a local user, you have to be generate a password. So once generated, that password is generated, you have to be logging with this particular user to reset that password, because it's automatically password needs reset will be checked. If you are unchecking this one, then no need to be required to be generate a new password. Otherwise you have to be generating new password after that. The second thing, that will be a local user always. It should not be created on domain, or it should not be captured, or it should not be coming from any uh, LDAP or AD to populate in ServiceNow. As you know, when we are logging, when we are installing in a customer premises ServiceNow instance, we are going to be connect with the LDAP to fetch the user details, and based on they are able to log in ServiceNow. But we should not require it should be a local user, right? And we can just I just filled a couple of things to just make sure the first name, last name, and the email only as of now, right? After that, what I did here, I've just created or provided the rule, right? So if I click on add it, just to showcase you, I've just provided only mid underscore server role to that particular user. That is the necessary rule. If you're not providing that one, so your mid server services will not be running up, right? Second thing, once you enable that mid underscore server rule, there are SOAP or the REST services rules will be inherited by that particular mid underscore server rule. That is required to be connections between ServiceNow instance to mid server. Is that clear? So that is the first prereq. Mid server user should be created with mid underscore server role. Username, you can put anything. It's up to us, right? If we have multiple mid servers, I can give the naming convention of the mid server, example XYZ underscore IP underscore. If we are using that mid server for discovery, yeah, event management, yeah, we are using for service mapping. We can add whatever we want to be, right? So username or user ID can be anything. Mid underscore server role will be necessary here. Okay, let me go to the next thing related to okay, my bad. Now Rakesh, you asked me, Ajay, how you are going to be or how we are going to be take the RDP, right? So as I mentioned, in your laptop, if you're using, you have a out of the box application on Windows laptop which we call remote desktop, okay, RDP in the short form, and RDP running on specifically port 3389. So RDP services running on 3389, and that particular port should be opened on that particular Windows server which we want to take an RDP. If we don't have RDP or that service is not enabled, we cannot take the RDP of it. It will give you error always. Okay. Now the
Yeah.
second thing, how you can take the RDPs, as I mentioned, there are a couple of applications available apart from out of the box. They might, like I'm using Microsoft Remote Desktop for my Mac machine, right? Here what I need to do, I have to be go here, or I just edit that name of that particular machine, or add user account. So I've just added those particular things, means username and password and the host name or the IP of that particular machine to connect it, right? Where I've taken care, where I've captured. So as I mentioned, I'm working on Azure portal. So I've created one machine, Windows machine here on Azure portal as well, like Windows Server Azure. But somehow I'm able to take the RDP of this as well. But that space on that particular virtual machine is 1 GB only. So somehow I'm not able to install anything on that particular virtual machine, just to showcase you here. So this is my virtual machine which belongs to Azure, which I created on Azure. So when I just click, automatically I've
So
already
Ajay,
saved.
so can't you show us how to create this virtual machine in that Azure portal?
I can showcase you, but I think for that basically somehow you required in layman term, you should know the Azure portal, how Azure portal will work basically, right? Because this is something Azure, right? So let me showcase you. I think it will not take that much time. So once I enable that particular free Azure for myself, I'm using my personal email ID, and it's free for till I have couple of credits available, right? So I have what let me showcase you how many credits I have available. It's available. Okay, it's not coming. Let me refresh once. Oh yeah, so I have available 15,356 credits now. Until the time that credits are available for me, I'm able to use that particular machines free, right? So if I close this one, I can create, first of all, what I need to be create, I need to be create a resource group, right? So from where I can create, so these are the resources which I'm able to create. But to create resource group, I need to go here. So I've created one resource group like test resource group. You can create that as well. So you need to be put any name, right? So I'm using that free trial test here, and if I give the name of resource group example xyz underscore abc, right? And what data centers I have to use, I can use whatever the data centers is required. So let me use this one, right? It's saying a container that hold relationships. If I want to be add text, I can add the text as well. So example, I've already couple of texts for that one. Let me put the type, resource group, class, Azure, organization, Azure. So I've just sorry here. Okay, so I have just added those particular resource group, and then when we go to create, I can create it simple. Right, so validation passed, and it will create a resource group. Once a resource group is created, I've just created this one, right? So once the resource group is created, then we have to be create the resources under that, right? So resources can be a virtual machine, can be a web application, can be an SQL database, can be, anything, whatever you are able to see there. Data factory, MongoDB, defenders, Azure backup, whatever I want to be, I can create it simply here, right? So to create a virtual machine, I need to go here, right? And need to be select under which subscriptions we need to be, put that particular virtual machine under which resource group. So because that is a mapping, and that will help in cloud discovery as well, right? So that must be required. So under xyz, what is the virtual name I need to be put? I can put anything. Again, in which data centers I have to be create that virtual machines, I have couple of things, right? Again, availability zone, or virtual machine scale set, or availability set, whatever you want to use as a backup of your virtual machines, you can select here. If you are selecting availability zone, you have to be select the zones, right? In which other zone you want to be create that particular virtual machine, right? So basically it will create a backup virtual machine in the different data center basically, right? Then and you have to be select the image, what image you want to use it, right? So whatever the image type you are selecting, you can install that particular virtual machines on your on your virtual machine, basically the OS. And it's always 64 bits, right? Then what is the configuration you want to use it? All sizes available here. Sorry. All sizes available here. You can create whatever you want to be, right? So if you are selecting this one, so CPU is will be 2 core, RAM is 8 GB, data disk is 4, max IOPS is 3200, and storage is 16 SCSI. This is the storage type again, right? So that will be available, so you have to be select that one. Okay. And as I've selected OS is like that, it's coming to SSH password, because that is a Linux type of OS, right? I can create username password from here. I can also create the SSH public key. This is one of the type of credentials. And I have to be provide, or give the access of whatever the inbound ports I want to be give the access. So these things, right? And then we have to be select the disk, what is the disk size I want to be put, right? OS disk type if I want to be put, and all couple of informations related to networking, which port you want to be allowed, what type of security you want to be add, right? Then monitoring, if you want to be enable the monitoring of that particular virtual machines from Azure itself. Then alerts, if you want to be enable the alerts and all, right? And advanced, you can select performance, host, capacity, and the text, right? So based on you, once you are fulfilling that and those informations, you can create a virtual machine. So the same way I've created a one virtual machines which I called Windows Server Azure. So once you create that particular virtual machines, it looks like the same, and it will allocate you one IP. So IP is this one, public IP address 4.152. My name, it's running, it's under East US2. What is it's a under subscription is free trial test. I can see whatever the informations, what is the RAM, what is the CPU, what is the OS type on it, right? What is the public IP, private IP of it, which type of image I have installed it, what is the version of it, right? So each and everything I can check here, especially if I want to be see monitoring all other informations which I configured in the last. I can toggle here and I can figure out everything. If I want to be take anything, I can connect it from here as well by a Boston or this one, or I can take a restart, stop, everything which I want to be do. I can do from Azure portal. The same way ServiceNow also providing the capability to maintain that particular virtual machines from the ServiceNow itself, which comes under cloud and governing module, right? So that comes in cloud optimizations basically, right? So that module is give you that complete authority to take the remote from the ServiceNow as well, to take configuration changes from the ServiceNow. Means it will create a replica. If in simple words I say, if it will create a replica for Azure portal to your in your ServiceNow instance where you can manage. So that is somehow, which that's why we called ServiceNow is a single source of truth for each and every information, or we can use that particular platform, ServiceNow platform, for to run couple of integrations, to run a couple of monitoring for single source of truth. So user don't want to be navigate to couple of applications to run or run the operations of that particular organization. I hope that is clear now, right?
Yes, it is clear, Ajay. So we can set up our own account for this Microsoft portal and create, right? Whatever you've
Yeah,
shown right now.
right, exactly. But that will available for 1 month free. That's it, not more than.
One
And
month.
right, and that
Okay.
have the cap limited, because limited things. So the virtual machine and the RAM and the size of this one, you cannot get more than this one for free account.
How much? Sorry.
uh, the free account, the size of the
Mhm.
virtual machine will be this one, which I am showcasing on my screen. The CPU
Yeah.
is 1 core and the RAM is 1 GB. That's it
Oh,
for
is
the
it?
free
So we
account.
cannot
Right.
run our discovery using this, right?
Right. So that is the challenge which I'm facing. I've
Oh,
installed it. They've, last week I've also done couple of things. I'm able to run the discovery somehow, but this
mhm.
time when I'm trying to install it, something it's not working. Right. It's giving me couple of things, and I've completely installed a new Windows server or new virtual machine. I've just depreciate the last one and install the new one, but still somehow that is not working. So just to showcase you this one, you can see that error I'm getting all the time basically, right?
So
So
what's your
that,
plan to run this discovery then in that case?
so I'm using now learning instance as of now, and now learning have the capability. I'm going to be install the Windows in mid server on that one. I'm going to be use the couple of IPs which is available on the now learning course, and each and everything which is covered here I'm going to be showcase you practical things on that now learning mid server instance or on my PDA as well.
I'm not getting you, Ajay. For after this class, how do we actually play? Do the practicals.
Right. So to do the practicals, you have to be enrolled for ServiceNow Discovery Fundamental course on
Okay.
Now Learning portal. On that
Okay.
Now Learning portal, you will get a mid server instance first of all,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
you can enroll or you can install whatever mid server type you want to be installed. You can install on it. You can access the RDP of it. You can see the name of the mid server URL. I can see here. The username and password is also available here. That is one thing. Second thing, when there are a couple of other steps available related to behavior and all, but I'm going to be covered day by day. So you can play around those particular things while you are learning, and while you are getting informations from this particular session. So you have a practical environment available specific for discovery.
I get it, but if you do not have any corporate account, or if you're not working for any corporate, you will not get this now learning account, right? I mean, you will get the now learning account, but you will
Mm.
have to pay for these courses.
Right, exactly. Not corporate. It should be that particular organization which you are working with. That
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
ServiceNow partner.
ServiceNow partner. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yes,
If it is
right.
not a ServiceNow partner, then you have a challenge, right?
Yes. So is the case you are not working with a ServiceNow partner, Rakesh?
Yeah, that's correct, mate. Yeah.
Okay, no issues. I think I have some alternate for you as well. We'll discuss and let you know on those things. No worries
Okay,
about
sure,
that, right? But
sure.
that is the
Yeah.
why I'm just referring, because you can also use that one, Azure one, that is running, but you have to be put lots of effort to run it or to access it, because every time I've, as I mentioned, every time you are getting this one, you have to be install your browser, because out of the box the Edge is up, Internet Explorer is there, right? And Internet Explorer, you cannot access that particular ServiceNow instance, that is not giving the capability to you, that one, right? You have to be installed your browser. You can install the mid server as well. You can create whatever you want to be, right, from Azure portal. That is good. But again, you have to be do couple of challenges there, right, which you are facing while you're installing mid server and couple of other things due to slowness only, not other anything else. Okay, so let
Yeah.
me go to my virtual machine, or we can say mid server of Now Learning One. I'm just going to be connect from here. It's asking for password. Let me capture the password. Oh my bad. Yeah. So I hope you are able to see my screen, right? Let me a
Mm-hmm.
little bit through. So this is my Windows machine, or we can say Windows virtual machine, which is available, or which is available by Now Learning, right? So I'm able to access that one. I can see the host name, IP address, and whatever the information. It's also on that we can say cloud only, that it's created in US East 1A. Instance type is T2
So
dot media.
this is the virtual machine which you were just showing, yeah? The Azure one.
No, this is not the Azure one. This is from Now Learning instance, or Now
Okay.
Learning codes, right? This is the virtual machine which is Now Learning codes, because here the RAM is 4 GB, 4 GB basically. So it's space up in layman terms. If I say, this is little bit more faster as compared to the Azure machine. Simple. Right. So if first thing, as I mentioned, what we have to do, we have to be navigate, or we have to be open that ServiceNow instance URL on the virtual machine on any browser. That is must required. So as I mentioned, to access that particular URL on that specific virtual machine, you need to be enable the port 443, and you ask customer to enable connection between virtual machine to, or to enable that particular URL on the port 443 basically to access it. Couple of times that will not provide you the complete access of the machine, so a specific URL should be working there, right? And how you have to be navigate to install that MSI or that installer file, you have to be type in the nav navigation panel as a mid server, and under the mid server module you have the downloads, right? So you can go to the downloads, and in the under the downloads you have that particular MSI is available for different types of OS. So that is for Windows MSI. Then second is Linux downloads, where you have related to Linux RPM, Docker image, or DEV image, right? So they all are 64 bits. You can download whatever, and if you want to download the zip, you can download the zip as well, right? So I've just downloaded MSI, that is available in my downloads if I'm not wrong. Yeah, yes, I have downloaded this one. Oh, it's not completed. Then let me download again. So it will take couple of minutes. Meanwhile, it's downloading. While we are installing mid server, we have to be take care one more thing, which is more important, which we called a service account with local logon as a service, right? So if that service account is not there, I think you cannot complete the mid server installation, as well as you cannot run the services using that particular account, right? So for that, what you have to do, you have to navigate for computer management from here. If I type here computer management, I can see, and I have to be navigate here. So I have navigated here. Under the computer management, local users and groups are there, right? So you have to go there, and in the under users, you have to create a new user. Let me this one. So you have to create a new user. You can see a couple of users available here, that lab.midserver user, midserver, that is a service account which is used by now learning midserver instance. As we are going to install our new midserver, we can do that, right? So let me take an example. From more actions, I have a new user available. We can create it here, and username we need to be put it here, right? So let's take an example. I'm putting the service account username is mid underscore server underscore PDI, just for reference, right? We can put the name here as well, mid server PDI, and description, if you want to be put, we can put the description as well. And then we have to be provide a password for it. Okay, let me copy this one so it will not I will not miss it, right? So okay, and here you can see user must change password at login. We have to be uncheck this one because we don't want to change the password on the first login, right? User cannot change the password, that is not required, but password never expire, we have to be check it, right? So if we check it, password never expire, it means the account, this particular account password is not going to be expire anytime, right? And then we can have to be created, right? So once we create, it will be available here. So that is my service account created here. Now we have to be provide the service account to this particular service account as a log on as a service role. So log on as a service role, it's like that, right? So where you have to be navigate again, you have to be navigate for local security policy, and under local security policy you have to navigate for user right assignments, and you have to be search for that particular policy which we call log on as a service. You have to be double click here, you have to be add a user, the username is mid underscore server underscore PDI, and once I check the names, oh, it's EDI. When I check the names, it's automatically pull in. We just need to add, need to be apply, and okay. So any questions till that, because that is something crucial while you are installing a mid server to create a service accounts. And earlier, when we are installing a mid server before UTA or before other earlier releases, that service account was not there. I think some of the UTA or before that Rome, I think that service now mandatory to create a local service account here, or a domain service account, and add that particular service account to log on as a service, right? Just one thing I just want to be correct here, you know you should not create directly a service account in the customer environment before taking an approval. Sometimes customer have because you don't have that much admin, because that much admin level access which I have it, right? So you have to be asked a customer if we need a service account to be created, and that should be added as a log on as a service, and I need username and password of that particular account. If he say we are going to be use a local or sorry domain account, we are okay with that, right? If he say no, we can create a local account for that particular services, you can ask to create local account. You can navigate those particular, you can give that information key, from there you have to be there. And there is one more article, knowledge article available on that from ServiceNow. You can also share that particular article. I will give you the article link as well, right? So Is there any questions in that one before moving to the next things from anyone?
What is login as a service?
Log on as a service, basically it help to run that particular services of mid applications when we are installing. So I hope you seen when you are restarting your laptop, automatically couple of applications will be, you know, opened, right, automatically, like, you know, Teams or Skype or something, right, if you are starting. So that particular applications added as a you know, in your desktop or in your laptop as a logged on as a service. Basically, logged on as a service means once you open anything, it automatically starting that particular services or particular application for you. The same way, this will, once my service is going to be restart, or once I'm taking the restart of my particular virtual machine due to any XYZ regions, the services will be start automatically with that particular user.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have to refer to this video once again. Yeah.
Definitely.
Because this,
And
yeah.
yes, Gayatri, anything or anyone from anything from your side?
No, Ajay. Maybe we can after class, like
Okay.
tomorrow, we can.
Not sure, somehow, you know, I'm not able to install that installer file. Why? But let me see why it's not, you know, downloading completely. So now we have done two things. One, I have created a mid server user on ServiceNow instance and added mid underscore server role. Second thing, we have created a service account on virtual machine and added as a logon as a service. These two things are little bit crucial while we are installing a mid application on it. And third thing is your ServiceNow instance IP should be whitelisted, or ServiceNow instance URL should be whitelisted from that particular virtual machine. Oh, I think there is some issue with that. Let me try with zip as well.
Creating the service account on a virtual machine. So this is where we install this mid server, right? That's where we need to create this service account. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. On the same
Then
machine.
what is the difference between MSI or zip file?
MSI is directly installer, Microsoft installer, right? And zip file is, you know, complete setup where you have to be install it. Simple. It's not a big difference. Basically, it's downloaded. Let me showcase you. If I go here, downloads, this is just, you know, zip. Basically it's compressed, and that earlier which we are downloading, that is directly installer, like, you know, APK of your application. So while you're installing any application in your mobile, you will get .apk, right? So you double click and your installation will be start. The same way, this is the, you know, it here, but here it's compressed file of that particular setup. So we need to be extract this one. I am just accepting here only. Yeah, I can provide the path as well where I need to be extracted. So let me do one thing. Let me create a, you know, folder. So we need to be an you know, see, let's try to install the mid server on a specific folder, right? That have to be take care. So example, I'm just creating a new folder here, because if on that same virtual machine, if there are multiple mid server running for different purposes or different instances, you should know it, right? So I'm just putting a you know, a name that is my PDI mid server. here already one more mid server install, right? So this is the mid server which is installed for the now learning instance, right? So I'm just referring that particular file while I'm extracting. Let me go to the download. Now let me click to extract all. You have to be select where you want to be. So I just want to be go in the C drive. So this is just a best practice, or just the thing when anyone referring apart from you that particular virtual machines to see where my mid server installed, what is the configuration for that particular instance or that particular mid server, he can navigate and he can refer it. It's just like same way when you are creating a code and you are putting some comment lines, okay, that particular line or that particular code is specific for that particular use, that particular function we are using for that particular use, right? So it will help to navigate other folks to understand how the things is running and how things is configured. If you are not doing that in this way, it's little bit is hectic to find out the configurations for the mid servers if you want to be troubleshoot something related to that. I hope that is clear, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just extracting this one. Okay, this is done. So this is extracted. So if I go here and PDI mid server, I can see that file. So in the agent file, all installation available or installer available. Here, if you see, there is no installer, right? So how you have to do? You have to be modify the config file to use that particular service accounts, to use that particular services to run it, because installer is not available. Let me see if installer is available. No, not there, right? Installer is not available in this one, right? So let me go here, let me go to open. Let me see if it is opening in the notepad. No, let me open with the notepad, this one. Now this is the configuration files which we have to be modified, and we have to be provide the values for that particular service now instance, that we need to be provide the mid server user or the service accounts for each and everything, right? So it's a readable file, right? So what is contains this one, what is the required parameters? So the first required parameter is the URL of our service now instance or my PDI instance example. So my PDI instance URL is this one. Let me try to copy dev.199.743. Let me go here. So we just need to replace the your instance thing, 199.743.service-now.com, and whatever the things here, let's keep it that same way. Then we created a user. The username on our PDI is mid_mid.server, right? Mid.server. So we need to be put or provide our username. We can see here mid. So why I'm referring the MSI file, because MSI or installer file, Microsoft Service Installer file, is just showcase you that complete installation ways or installation things. Here, you have to be refer the config file and you have to be modify. So we have to be little bit, if I layman term, if I say, we have to be little bit more careful to be modified that particular patterns. If by mistake you remove the inverted commas or remove the you remove the slash, that particular file will not work. So we have to be take care that one. And each and every parameter, you have the informations what parameter or what name you have to be used. So mid dot instance of username, we have to be provide the username. That mid dot instance dot password, we have to be provide the password of that. So the password of this particular user is this. Okay, then next is the parameter name. Define the value, the name of the which mid server is known for the service now instance. Added the value, provide the name, and you want to leave it blank. So if you want to give the name of the mid servers, you can give here. So let me give the name mid underscore server underscore pdi. Right, so we have added that one. Then next couple of things is related to some I can say proxy and all, which we need to be modify if customer is using the proxy. If it is not, then we can go ahead, right? So if you see, while we are discussing, that is the parameters. If you want to increase the max threads, expired max or interactive max, right? So this is by default 25. I think 25 is enough to use that max threads, right? If you want to change the instance format, date and time, you can change that particular format, date and time from here. And the next things comes related to proxy. So there are two proxies. You have to read that particular line in correct way. So this service now instance and downloading upgrades, when you are install a mid application on any server or any virtual machine, if your customer is using proxies to connect over the internet, you have to provide proxies there as well to upgrade your instance automatically. If it is true, means if you are use if true, and you have to provide that one, or otherwise you can make it false, or you have to provide here as well. This is again for auto upgrade, right? So this is for normal one where you have to provide the username and password for proxy, and this is for auto upgrade. If you want to be auto upgrade your mid server instance when any new mid server release or the new version comes or introduced by the service now. So let's take an example, your mid server running on the Vancouver and you want to upgrade in Washington. So automatically using those things will be upgraded if customer is using the proxy. If it is not, then we're not required to do anything, right? Then couple of common things. Let's
Ajay,
common.
in what scenarios the proxy is used from a
uh,
customer perspective?
that basically used for security purpose, and if you want to connect over the internet basically. So let's take an example. I'm not sure, and in Wipro, I think Wipro is also using the proxy in their browsers, right? If you are connecting to if you are connecting to internet or you are connecting to Google example, right? So this is just for they just want to be bypass that particular traffic using that proxy server, so they can capture each and everything where the user are navigating. If any malware or anything is going to be happen with that particular site, they can control, or they can remove it immediately using that proxies, or they can stop that particular functionality immediately. So let's take an example. You are trying to access some unauthorized websites which is not authorized in your organizations. If proxy is configured, you cannot do that, right? Automatically they have put it that particular authorized sites to that particular unauthorized sections, right? Still, if you want to be authorized, if you are going to be access any server or any URL, then it going via that proxy server, right? So traffic is moving from the proxy server. So it's going to let's take an example. On your laptop, in your browser, proxy is configured. That will be a browser level, right? So it will be configured on your browser. So when you are going there, and you are trying to access Google or searching for resume. So if if your customer or your organization wants the traffic will be passing from with proxy server. So when you're searching anything, the traffic is going to the proxy server, and once he allows you that is correct site, no issues, then you are able to reach out to the resume site, whatever or where you want to be go it. Otherwise they can stop you there, means they cannot give you the access on that particular. And if they feel some malware or some advice advertisement which is something wrong, it's going to be harm our organization securities, they can also stop you there immediately. Proxy server, you know, stop your give not giving the access to that particular site. I hope you get it right.
Yep.
Okay. And as I mentioned, that will be available on your browser level. If you want to see if you have any proxy or not, I think you can go here, or you know, in the settings you can search proxy here. So here it's my MacBook, so that's why it's coming like here. But you know, it's something like that. If you enable that one, or no, not this one, not this one, not this one. Proxy, it's come under the, I'm not sure where in my MacBook. That is something challenging for me sometimes when I'm looking for, you know, those particular things. If someone have Windows laptop, I think it will help to navigate to you. There is available on the browser level, so you can find out somewhere in the browser if any proxies are configured. Oh, okay, I have here. Let me showcase you here. Uh, Settings, proxy. Yeah. No, again. Navigating to. Yes. Right. So use a proxy server. If it is on, you have to put user address and the port. The same way we are, you know, mentioning there. And if you know, if you want to accept something, you can put it that particular entry as a comma separated, right? So you can find out if you enable it, that particular thing. If it is configured on your browser level, it should be enabled, right? So don't use the proxy server for local internet addresses. It's also, you can check or uncheck that particular things, right? So this is
Mm.
something which we can configure from here. Oh, I hope I'm not closing the correct. Yeah. Now my mid server is you know, done. I have configured whatever the information required. What I need to do, just I need to be save this one. Oh, set. It's again control S, or let me save. Okay. So these three things I have to be configured. Once I done, I have to be start the service. So once I click on start the service, shit, my bad, one moment. Microsoft Defender Smart prevented to underwriter from running this app, might you reach. Okay, so let me run in the different way now. That issues which I am facing, that issues might be while you're installing the mid server, you will also face, right? So it will not allow to start that particular applications. The different ways to start that particular services, you have to go to command prompt. Oh, shit, let me open with admin. Just click run as administrator. Okay, now you have to reach out to that particular path where your agent file is available. So you have to go this particular path. How you can go it? First of all, you have to be reach out to C drive. So you have to put cd dot dot. Again, you can put cd dot dot. Now you reach out to in the C drive, right? Then where you have to go to that particular path, you can copy this one till the PDI. Then you have to type cd and paste that particular URL file path. Okay, and enter. Now you can under inside of C drive, PDI, mid server, this and this. What you have to be run? You have to be run that start dot this particular command to start the services. So I'm just copying this one, start mid dot nt dot bat. This is a batch file, so we need to put bat as well. So once you click, the ServiceNow service is already started with status running. Press any key to continue. Okay. Now let me see if my service
Buddy,
is
in
run.
in real time world, all
Mhm.
these will be taken care by Windows people, or will it need to be handled by
So
ServiceNow admin or developer?
that should be handled by ServiceNow admin and developer in the real world.
Okay, okay, got
Windows
you.
team is going to be provide the access or that credentials of that particular virtual machine. That's it. If you are
That's it.
facing any challenges, they will help you, but they will not help. They will help you related to access and all other things, but they will not help you to install the mid application on the Windows machine. This is our
Okay.
responsibility only. And as I run this particular command, it's showing the service is already running. How can I verify? I need to go to the services, right? So here in the services, when I double click, it's open. I need to be search ServiceNow. So when I type ServiceNow, I can see when ServiceNow mid server is running. I hope you're able to see, right? That is showing running, but somehow the name which we have given ServiceNow mid underscore server underscore PDI, it's not able to see here. Right now, this is something interesting and which is going to be take more time, and we have already 9 o'clock now. So that particular thing will be starting from tomorrow to showcase you where I have to be modify to enable or that service will be visible here. What is the help to install that particular thing? And I will also try to install or get the MSI file on that particular machine, so we can install a mid server using the installer file as well to showcase you the graphical view. Okay.
Uh,
So
so Ajay,
any yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we apart from, see, the thing is, the the objective of this course is again to learn practicals, right? So there is a limitation in learning practical is what I see from today's session. Either having a personal instance, and if you create your own account through Azure portal, you get 1 GB, where you may not be able to install the mid server.
Hmm.
And the second option is you have to have a ServiceNow account, you know,
Which
where you have to have a Now Learning account where you can go ahead and have your